Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to another podcast with AJ.
That's me. Where am I? Where's my finger? There it is. How are we doing? Hope everyone's well.
Yes.
How are you,
Yeah.
Matt? All right?
I'm okay, thank you. Yourself?
As can be
That
expected.
can be. Back slowly into it. Yeah, I know you've, at the time of recording this, you've kind of announced your return to eBay. eBay. What am I saying?
Yeah, you said eBay. I just went with Amazon.
Yeah.
YouTube even.
Oh, dear. Yeah.
Have I really ever been away? I suppose I have.
Well, yeah. I think you've been here, but like you said in your video that it's going to be different to what it was. It's going to be when you want to do it rather than feeling the need to.
I say that, but it just seems like there's loads of stuff that I want to record. But I'm sure it will slow down. The thing is, I've got, I know I asked about post openings, and people did say, yeah, they like post openings and that sort of thing. So I will do them, and I have filmed a few where I've had a few bits come through. Yet to be, as we're talking, they're yet to come up. There's films that I want to get back into watching films and reviewing them. It seems like at the moment I've got I could have daily content, but I don't want to have daily content. So I'm pretty sure that because I've just stepped back into it, there's more to for me to do, and then it will drift off again a little bit slower. That's what I want. I don't want that intensity from it.
No. I think it all comes down to you don't feel the need to have to put content out all the time. You just do it when you want to do it, and when you feel inspired to do it. And I think I'm like that with my videos. I try to sort of have regular 2 or 3 videos a week, but I don't think, oh gosh, I haven't put a video up on this day. What am I going to do? Just leave it. If there's nothing to do, then you don't have to put something out.
No, I think before I had a very sort of OCD nature about it, and I think I've said this before. When I get into something, I sort of I have this very sort of, like I say, it's with the He-Man collecting. It's like, let's get as many as I can in one quick succession, and then it tails off because there's no more to get. Then I move on to the next thing, and with YouTube, it was very much probably like that. But I kept for about 2.5 years. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's got to burn anyone out, isn't it? But anyway, so it will be as and when, but I can't say that there won't be 2 videos in one day, or there might not be a succession of daily videos. Certainly at the moment, as we're recording this, it feels like a succession of daily videos will be. And then I'm sure that it will start to settle down to less to a bit less content.
Cool. Right, so today's subject is one that I think most collectors battle with constantly, and that's the fear of missing out.
That fear, that be very afraid that you don't get the latest release.
And also I've put in there as well, do we really need to get these titles on day one of release? That's another sideline to this.
It is,
which I think is driven a lot by the fear of missing out. So
they're very intertwined.
They are indeed. So let's just roll the little intro, and then we'll come back and we'll get into the discussion. Welcome back.
Always catch me on my phone. I don't think I've ever seen that intro. Play it again. I've never watched it. No, I'm always like pick up my phone.
Yeah, I think it catches you out because it's only short, and I was doing some longer ones, but
Yeah, I'm used to about 3 minutes of it.
but yeah. Right. So fear of missing out. And do we really need to pick up everything on day one of release?
They're like I said, it's very intertwined, isn't it?
It is.
Because if you don't pick up on day one, you might miss out. Not the standard. We're not talking standard releases here. We're talking more the sort of, the Arrow special editions, the steel books, the thicker special editions that come along, all that sort of thing. More so.
Yeah, although I would say that, certainly maybe for catalogue titles, like just for instance, recently True Lies and Aliens.
Abyss.
The Abyss a little bit different because we've not had access to that in the UK. We've had to either import it from the US, or I know Italy, Germany, and France. I think their ones are coming out shortly.
I think as we're talking, filming this, Aliens has just dropped in Germany or something somewhere.
Yeah.
Or was it the Abyss? No, I think it was the Abyss. The Abyss has just dropped in Germany. I know that because Kermit, Alan Kermit, has messaged me yesterday saying, "Oh, he's getting the Abyss from," because obviously I know he's a Blu-ray collector, but he ain't got the Abyss, and the only way for him to get the Abyss Blu-ray is on the 4K. He's got the German one coming. I believe it's the German one. And I said, "Oh, when's that out?" And he said, "Oh, it's actually out today." This was like a couple of days ago.
Yeah. I mean, for me personally, the Abyss has always been sort of one of the holy grail titles, but I actually tried to pre-order the US version, and I missed out on it because there was just that rush for it. Everyone was clamoring to buy it, and it just sold out. And then you're still seeing it on eBay at the moment. Crazy prices, 40, 50 quid just for a standard edition.
I was lucky I got it. And I don't know whether they... the sense I get from America is that they do a first come, first serve. That's the impression that I get from what I've seen on people's... if you had a look at their ordering dates, if you'd ordered it early, as soon as it came up, you're more likely to get it than if you were later. So I was lucky enough. I'd got it, but I'd obviously seen some even collectors in America not getting it, and yet I'm getting it, and I'm not in America. But then the question in the back of my mind, right? Because like you said, this is a catalogue title, title that has no reason to sell out. It has no reason to be sold at overinflated prices on eBay. It's inevitably they'll be printing more and they'll hit the shelves again, and if not already, sometime soon there'll be an abundance of them on you go into Walmart, whatever, eBay, Amazon, there'll be an abundance of them, right? So part of me, right, and seriously, the cynical side of me has to ask if this is manufactured,
deliberate.
Is if right, because let's say that I'm the production company, whatever, and I'll say, okay, so we envisage selling X amount of these based upon sales of other films. The fact that we know that this film is wanted by the mass, so we can probably assume that we're going to sell this many, so produce this many, couple more, whatever, however many more, so that everyone can get them. But no, let's not release them. Let's just release this small, let's release a percentage of it. Because then the fact that it becomes hard to get makes people then want it more.
Yeah.
Forget the fact that they're paying, you know, the companies don't care that people are going onto eBay and paying inflated prices for it. That doesn't bother them whatsoever. But it drives this need, that fear, the fear of missing out. And people who may not have picked the film up will be wanting it because they can't get it. And if they go into a store and they're just perusing along and they haven't got it, and all of a sudden there's an Abyss on the shelf, they'll grab it and say to themselves, this is impossible to get a hold of. I can't believe they've got it here. I'm going to grab a copy because if I don't grab it now, it may not be there in a couple of days when I come back.
Yeah.
And it's a very manufactured kind of way of trying to increase sales. Also, with this film, you've got to take into account the fact that, the Abyss itself, it didn't have a Blu-ray release. So your Blu-ray, it's not just 4K buyers that are buying it. You've got that Blu-ray community as well, probably buying it, but for the Blu-ray. And as we know, Blu-ray does outsell 4K. So you do you know what I mean? So you've got, so why haven't they? Could that be why they ain't produced enough? Because they didn't account for that side of it. I don't know, but
no,
you think they would.
You see, I mean, it is back in stock now. It's back in stock on Amazon.com, and also I've seen it on other sort of websites that will import stuff for much more reasonable prices than what you'll see on eBay. So they obviously have reproduced. Now again, the other thing, I don't know whether this restock will include the slipcover or whether it'll be minus that, because again, that's another thing that people drive for, is the initial release. And it's the same with Arrow a lot of the times, with the booklets and this kind of thing, the slipcovers and whatnot. On the first pressing, you get that stuff, but then second time round, that's gone. So again, it's driving people to want to fear of missing out on that initial pressing.
Yeah, but that's the thing. We're not talking about just the film, are we? Here, that's not the the film. The film's taken out of the equation at that point, and you're worrying about slipcover.
Yeah.
And that to me is crazy. I think a slipcover's a nice addition too, but it's not the be all end all. The thing is, right? If I feel sorry for anyone that's gone and bought the Abyss on eBay at these overinflated prices, right? Because people are just making a mug of you. Yeah, that's how I see it. When the Abyss hit in America, and I saw on some of the Facebook groups that people had box after box of it, or one they'd open up a box and they'd take a photo, and there's probably about 20 versions of this film in this box.
Yeah.
Right? And yet you've got other people commenting who couldn't get one. That's disgusting.
Yeah, it is.
I think that's horrible. And then those people, and then this person who's got 20 of them, he's selling them an overinflated price.
Yeah.
And you could be paying nigh on double for it. And you're telling me people are paying nigh on double for for a slipcover. Those people, even that's just mug. That's. I think that's like a muggish behaviour. I do get the a slip is a nice addition, but it should be a film for the most part. It should be a film.
Yeah.
And these companies know what they're doing. They know.
I mean, I'm tempted to get to import the Abyss from one particular place that you can get it from for a reasonable price, but I've still now got the thing in the back of my head, because I've seen it before, that in 6 months' time, or maybe even less, there's going to be an announcement of a steelbook or possibly a special edition that comes out, because we've seen it before. They did it. I think they did it. Didn't they do it with Titanic?
Titanic got that box release, which I think, as we're speaking now, is just about to be released in this country. It's
Yes.
not a steelbook, but it's got those. It's got like a booklet in and music sheet of, you know, and I don't know, is there a reproduction ticket and nonsense like that in there? A lot of paper product stuff, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
reproduction menu or something. I did have it on pre-order because I was contemplating it at one point. I
Yeah.
came to my senses and cancelled that pre-order.
Yeah. Yeah. I
You
guess
know,
if it's say it's one of your favourite film of all time, or you've just got a real connection with that film, I can understand somebody wanting to get the best edition with all the bump and all the rest of it.
oh yeah, no,
Um,
you know, I do see the fundamental flaw in what I'm saying because, you know, if it was another Jaws release, at £100 with whatever in it,
yeah,
then
yeah,
likelihood that I'd be first in line. So
yeah,
again, it is that sort of that you know. So I can't judge anyone for paying £100 for it. I would have, you know, if I had a bottomless pocket, I'd probably buy it.
but then if you see it on sale in another 6 months' time, when we get to sort of November, December time, and it's £50, then it's a bit more appealing, then, isn't it? But
No, absolutely. I mean, that's always nice. I mean, I've done that with the Top Gun
yeah,
release. That had dropped in sale by a considerable amount, and I bought it, the big box one. Not having Top Gun 1 on 4K, I only had Top Gun Maverick on 4K, which was that one with the lenticular, and not a particularly good lenticular either, and I sold that on.
yeah,
I sold that steelbook on to help pay for the box set, and again that made me feel happier. It makes me feel happier to sell on something when I've upgraded to something else. That's just, I'm getting used to that.
yeah. And I
I
think that's
like it.
where I need to go with my collecting, because I'm very guilty of this. That if it's a film that really appeals to me, I will buy multiple editions of it. And when you step back and think about it, actually, it's a crazy practice. Really, you should just be happy with one edition. And okay, if another one comes up that appeals to you more, then you've got to be prepared to think, like, oh, okay, well, I'll sell that previous edition to help fund to pay for this new one.
That's right. Yeah,
What?
I mean, I've recently done it with, and I can't believe it. Garbage Pail Kids. I pre-ordered that. That's out in about 2 weeks as we recorded. The UK Garbage Pail Kids digibook version. I had the Spanish release of the film. Yeah, it's not a good film. It's a film that I loved as a kid, and I watched it and I couldn't believe how bad it is. But I sold that and I pre-ordered the digibook. But part of me, the reason I've pre-ordered the digibook version is because I do have a sort of an affinity hate relationship for the film. There's a nostalgic element to it that I want.
Yeah, yeah,
No, it's a bad film, but it was a film that I grew up on. I used to collect the trading cards, but there's also a third disc in there that contains a documentary about Garbage Pail Kids and the history of it and all this sort of a thing. And it is primarily that
it's
that
driven you
drawn me
towards it.
to
Yeah,
that release. So if they'd released, what I'm saying is, if they'd released a documentary like they did, I don't know how long the documentary is, but if it was a decent length, because I've not looked that much into it, and it was released as a standard Blu-ray, there's a good chance I might buy it just alone the documentary. Do you know what I mean? But we're going off topic. I'm not scared of missing out on that.
no. Although, if it was a limited release, maybe you would, that fear again. I mean, that's the marketing behind it, isn't it? The limited releases. Now, one thing I've, that Dread 4 Cult edition that we both picked up from Amazon Italy. That was the
Yeah,
one that you pointed me towards. Now, that was a limited edition.
that's right.
But strange enough, somebody messaged me yesterday and said that they actually picked that release up on the back of my video. because they thought it was a nice release and thought, oh, it's limited edition. Because I said this is limited to 1,000 copies, and they actually commented that their release isn't limited. It's got the comic book in, and obviously the same slip cover. But the one thing that apparently is missing, sorry,
the card with a number.
The card, yeah, the card is the limited bit of it apparently.
Okay,
because they re-released it without, So again, they've obviously manufactured that as a limited release to get people to buy it. Possibly a lot of people have snapped it up, because they're thinking, oh gosh, this is limited. But then on the back of that, obviously, because it's sold out, that limited release, they're now re-releasing it, but without that card.
Wow.
It's a bit crafty, that, isn't it?
It is, because I got, I bought the 4K Cult Cliffhanger.
Right.
That didn't have a card in it or anything like that. I was expecting to open it up and have a card in it, but it didn't. A numbered card.
So it'd be interesting to see whether that was the same thing. Maybe they'd done a limited release on that one initially. I don't know how long these things have been out, but possibly they've done that. It's a bit like the first pressing, isn't it, of the Arrow? That kind of, here's so many editions of this with this booklet or this card or this slip cover. Obviously, to get people to buy it, and then we go to the standard release afterwards.
The one thing I will say, just while you're on the subject of Dread, is that I did watch it actually a few nights ago. That 4K Cult release.
Okay, I've not seen it yet.
It didn't seem as grainy as the 4K that I'd watched previous.
Okay. What, the German? Is it the German one you got or the US one?
I think I've got both. I got both. And it doesn't seem as grainy. It seemed clearer. Not only that, I don't know if it's just me, but there were certain snippets of it that I felt that I haven't seen before. And when I say snippets, I mean a second here and there of violence, of extreme violence, and close up of gore, of like someone's head smashed to bits on the ground and all opened up. And I don't know if it's, it could be a case of a blink and you'll miss it moment, and I've not seen it before because I blinked. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I felt like there were seconds that may have been trimmed that were present in this version. I would need to put the other one in and make that comparison. So I'm not saying that it is.
No.
I'm saying that I felt that it was. Because I've seen the film a good few times, and I'm like, I've not noticed that before. Or that second, that sort of frame. You're talking seconds. It would make no difference to the length of the film.
Running time. Right.
But yeah, one of them sort of, let's just trim them 2 seconds there. We don't want to see that kind of a thing, that nature. Yeah, it felt kind of like that.
Well, I mean, possibly because it's a European release, maybe the obviously within the UK, although generally in the US versions are usually R-rated, aren't they? They don't tend to cut stuff out in the US.
They are, yeah. I'm not sure if I've watched.
In the UK they would, but
I'm not sure that I've watched my Best Buy. So I got the Best Buy Steelbook, which I know you can get in Walmart now for probably next to nothing. I don't know if I've watched that version or if the 4K one was. I think I would have watched the German one because I said I've got 2 other Steelbooks for it. So I don't know whether I've watched the American Steelbook. I can't say.
I do know that the US 4K has. I mean, I know this isn't important to you because you're not really that fussed about the sound, but it does have the Atmos track on the US version, whereas this one, I think it's just a 5.1 DTS master audio mix, which is still pretty good. But again, for people who are certainly more the home theatre, home cinema kind of people like myself, I always like to see an Atmos track on a release. But I was very happy with the release. It was a great price. Like I say, the little comic book, yeah, the little card was a nice little bonus, nice slip cover. But anyway, we're getting off topic.
Although I would before we go back on topic, I was surprised by the comic book in it, in that the comic book is just standard Judge Dredd comic book, whereas there were a few comics released that follow on from the film.
Oh, okay.
That are that version of Judge Dredd with that sort of look and costume.
Right.
And I am surprised that it wasn't one of them that they utilised within, and just a standard 2000 AD Judge Dredd.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's interesting you said that, because I didn't realise they produced comics.
Yeah. I think the first one was called Underbelly. I've got, I do have what they produced following on from the film.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll get round to watching the 4K at some point.
Can you just give me 1 minute?
Yeah. No problem.
You're right, keeping the audience happy for 1 minute.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, if you're just new to joining at this point, we're talking about the fear of missing out. What drives people to want to get a release, without, if it's a limited edition or limited slipcase. The Abyss, obviously, that's been one that I think has driven a lot of this FOMO, fear of missing out. Obviously, then pushing up the prices on eBay. It's something I think all collectors sort of, this has happened to them, so yeah, anyway, we're back to the conversation. I've just been filling in people as to, if they're just joining now on it, this is what we're talking about.
I was dying to go pee.
No worries. Yeah,
I couldn't hold it.
Yeah, no worries.
I did consider getting the glass under the table, and here we go, I've done, but I thought, no, I need to step away.
Yeah.
Anyway, fear of missing out.
I mean, again, I think eBay fuels a lot of this, certainly with, sort of overinflated prices of certain releases. I mean, now another one I can think of that sort of gave us this fear of missing out was that Exorcist release. Do you remember the UK version, the Amazon exclusive? Yeah.
Now I think, fear of missing out's a strange one. It only generally happens, for the most part now. I think a lot of stuff. It seemed like we got away from it. I noticed a period a year or so ago, maybe a year and a half ago, where it seemed like titles weren't selling out, where it seemed like the sort of scalper market was in decline, and I think that was because of the abundance of releases that we had coming. So if you remember last year, it was like week in, week out that we had special edition after special edition, and people only have so much money in their pockets. So because there's more special editions on the shelf, people can't buy everything. People are being more picky, and stuff wasn't selling out. I don't know if this year now seems like that's less of a case, less stuff being produced special edition wise. I don't know if it's just me and I'm not noticing it because it's not stuff that appeals to me or what, right? So it might be that these special editions are still coming through on a weekly basis, but very rare any speak to me. But it's like, but you have got an increase now of that speculator market again, it seems. So that would sort of suggest that there is a less special editions coming out because stuff does sell out now. Do you know what I mean? It's a strange one. What's going on?
Yeah, I do think if an edition is exclusive to a particular country, like I say, that Exorcist one, that box set was only available in the UK as far as I know, they haven't released it in any other territory. Obviously, you got the other edition with the steelbook and the hard case. I've got that edition because again, I missed out on. I pre-ordered it, and Amazon, messed up the orders and all the rest of it. And again, I think a lot of that buzz that happens around this, because obviously a lot of this stuff is discussed on forums, Facebook, Instagram, all the rest of it.
On these channels,
and it creates. It's almost like it creates. Like
it drives
it. It drives it. Absolutely.
It drives that need to want it. That I want that special edition. It's kind of like a sort of keeping up. There's a keeping up with the Joneses kind of a impact to it. It is most definitely driven by. If you watch channels like this, if you participate in Facebook groups, all this, it drives that knowledge and that. But whereas if that's the thing, it's being driven by. If you're not a member of this stuff, if you're a collector and you don't watch channels like this, I bet you that fear of missing out feel isn't as gripping as what it is for people here. But not only that, it's being driven by these companies as well, selling Amazon and Zavvi and whatnot, right? Because again, with The Exorcist as an example, your order wasn't fulfilled, my order wasn't fulfilled, although I got it by other means. But then you see people on eBay selling 5 copies of it.
Yeah.
Amazon or whoever are happy to pack out them in bulk to them. They should have a one per customer limit. Now I know there's ways around that. You have another account, you buy another one with another account, and that sort of thing. But it gives you time. It gives people a bit of time to try and get them if they're just going one per customer.
Yeah.
But then I do know people that will buy two just in case, because this is another thing that people do, and more people are doing this. They will buy 2 copies in the event that one of them is damaged.
Yeah.
So that they've got a non-damaged one, because they know that if it comes damaged, I'm not getting another one, because they're not going to have, or unlikely to have, a replacement.
Yeah.
And then if both come perfectly good, they sell one on. Which, okay, fair enough. But again, that drives this fear of missing out, because if everyone's doing that, then you've got loads of people missing out at that initial release phase.
I do think that Zavvi were very. I don't really look on their site much, and I did take advantage of those X-Men steelbooks, which were very good. It was a good deal. I hadn't dealt with them for many years, and I was pleasantly surprised by their packaging, and it was a smooth transaction, no issues. But I do think certainly when they had the Marvel contract, they were pushing this sort of fear of missing out, because they were releasing titles at midnight and this kind of thing, because they knew that the US market were interested in it. And it was all sorts of silly tactics, stuff being, sort of, we'll have this pop vinyl with it, and all kind of gimmicks to try and get people to sort of pre-order, because they knew that there was this sort of, I must get it because it might sell out, and I do. Yeah, go on.
No, go on.
I'm going to say I do think that I don't see that as much from Zavvi now. I think whilst they are still releasing a lot of steelbooks, they did flood the steelbook market, saturated it. I don't see that as much of a drive to, you must get this special limited edition now, because a lot of their stuff hasn't sold out and it's been heavily discounted, like the Thor, like the Wakanda Forever editions.
But not only that, you get fish stuff's being reissued as well now.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Xavi have just, I noticed, I got a notification a couple of days ago that they've got Lawrence of Arabia coming back.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
That Mondo, is it a Mondo?
I'm not sure. It looks very Mondo-esque, but yeah. So Lawrence of Arabia, only one per customer. They have got that there for it, one per customer.
Okay, well, that's, yeah.
Now that was released a while ago. I don't know if there's any difference between the releases. They look the same. I'm assuming it's exactly the same release. And the one from before sold out and started commanding quite a high price again on eBay.
Mm.
Now it's available again. I think also Steelbook for Forrest Gump is up. But it's the same as the existing Steelbook that came out before, the 4K Steelbook. That's been released again, dated June. I'm seeing this sort of stuff. I'm seeing re-releases of stuff, and it's not just hitting the ground. It's being released as a pre-order, a couple of months down the line. But it's stuff that's come before.
Yeah.
But it's funny you should say about, the thought I had, and I'll go into this now, when you said about Xavi and pushing this fear of missing out and that with these midnight releases, etc., and what they were doing, and this is what I said at the beginning before we went live about, I've done a video which has now aired. It hasn't aired as we're talking now, but it will have aired by the time this airs. And it's about conditioning and us being conditioned into buying these releases, right? In a sense. And it came to me the other day. So obviously, and I'll name specific films here, right? And June 2, Godzilla X Kong, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, which, as you know, I've done a review. I didn't enjoy it. Ironically, I'm wearing a Ghostbusters Frozen Empire t-shirt. I was kind of excited for the film. Yeah, and I bought a t-shirt before I'd seen the film. But when I say about conditioning, right, and fear of missing out, sort of a combination of the two, it came to me that, as you know, a lot of films get released, or a Steelbook announcement is made the weekend of the film being released in the cinema, right?
Yeah.
So like everyone else, Ghostbusters Afterlife comes up, Kong comes up, June comes up. Okay, I didn't pre-order June, but you pre-order these titles. I pre-order these titles, without having seen the film.
Yeah.
Right. How many people are doing that? Loads of people are doing that because I like that Steelbook. It's Ghostbusters, it's Kong. I like the others. I like the last Ghostbusters film. Let's pre-order that. Not actually seen the film yet.
Yeah.
Now, case in point, I saw Ghostbusters. I didn't enjoy it. So I come away and I go online to Xavi or whoever it may be, wherever it's pre-ordered, and I go in to cancel my order, only to notice, hold on a minute, this is sold out. It's sold out. So do I cancel it or not?
Right.
Do I keep that order in place because I've got something that other people may be after? And do you see what I mean? Even though I did, and I'm using this as I cancelled. Me personally, I cancelled, yes. Right. But I'm talking, I'm generalizing here. Other people and the psychology behind collecting. I've now got an order in place for something that I can see and I know is sold out. So I'm going to get something that other people might want, and I've got it.
Yeah.
Do I cancel it and then I'm seeing other people get it, even though I didn't enjoy the film? I'm now feeling, I had that ordered and I wish I kept the order in place, even though it's nothing about the film. Do you see what I mean? You're conditioning, in a sense, you're conditioning people into ordering this stuff prior to even, they're ordering it blind. They're ordering it blind based on the fact that it's a steel book, it's possibly limited. The minute it sells out, there's still going to be people buying it who haven't enjoyed that film. And you've conditioned this collecting nature and again, and it's ingraining that justification of fear of missing out in you because I've got it and someone else hasn't.
Yeah.
So I think, I do think that there's a, it's, when I started seeing releases, day of release, all the films just come out, it's hit the cinema, I'm bloody, I can pre-order it. Is that a good thing or not? I don't know, because you're selling an unseen product.
You are.
People aren't, is it? I know that obviously the window of release is small now. You're about 3 months between cinema and physical media sale. But is that sale strategy driven by a potential lack of faith in your product? Because if we can get people buying it, ordering it without having seen it,
with fancy packaging,
we may have more sales of it. Because I've already spoke about this sort of I don't get how the smaller release window strategy works, right? I think that both cinema and physical media should be working in conjunction with one another.
Yeah.
Right. And what I see is a polarizing release strategy for stuff now. It's like turning two magnets on one another and both pushing away from one another, because like I've said, on the one hand, I go to the cinema, I see a film. I'm generalizing here, general public. And this could have something to do with a decline of physical media. I don't know, right? It could have something to do with that. Forget streaming. This could play a big part in it. But I go cinema, and I've gone to see the latest film, right? That film gets released in 3 months' time on physical media. I'm a normal person. I'm Joe Public. Why do I want to buy that film now? I don't want to buy that film. I saw it 3 months ago. It's fresh. It's a fresh film. I've seen it, right? The polarizing opposite side of that, the opposing force, is why should I go cinema to see that film? I can pick it up in 3 months.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? So there's this kind of
or even less if you're going for the digital, because the digital now comes out even before the physical.
Yeah, so I don't get how they're working in tandem. They're not. It's like they're working against one another. And and is this release strategy of releasing something on day of release part of that sort of polarizing, because on the one hand I could say, okay, look, bloody hell, King Kong's opened in the cinema today or yesterday, and I can order it here, and I know it's going to be out in a couple of months. Oh, I'll just pre-order it. Stop the cinema, I'll pre-order it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I'll pre-order it.
Yeah.
I'll wait for that to come through instead of going cinema. It's very, very. I don't get. It's very contradictory. There's a contradictory nature to how stuff's done now.
I do think as well, cinema, how well a film does at the cinema again is a lot down to public reaction, word of mouth. People say, "Oh, I went to see this film. It's really good," and then it's almost like a snowball effect. And more people think, yeah, I'll go and see the film, and it becomes a huge success. Whereas if it's not that great at the cinema, there's not that buzz. And if you think about it, think of a movie executive it's a risk, isn't it? Whatever film they bring out, regardless of even if it's an established character like Batman, Superman, whatever, a film is a risk. So they've got investors, pumped a lot of money into these films. So they've got to kind of hedge their bets and think, right, so is this going to do well at the cinema? Possibly. We've got a 50% chance it's going to do really well. But to make sure that we're going to get our money back, let's release it, or let's get the pre-orders up for the films and physical or digital. So we've got like several revenue streams coming in to pay our investors back. So you can kind of see it. I mean, it must be a very, it is a risky business because they just don't know. One film's going to do fantastic. Who thought that Barbie would do as well as it did? $1 billion film. When they announced Barbie, I just thought, well, can't see that doing very well. I mean, personally, I've not seen it. It doesn't really interest me. But for a lot of people, that was a huge, last year, biggest probably film apart from Oppenheimer, and it did fantastic. But I think they also released a lot of versions of it as well.
Yeah, I think with Barbie, it was just a case of luck at the time. Audiences were ready. They were ready for Marvel, DC hit rock bottom. Mission Impossible. Interest is waning in that. The franchise has gone on as good as it is. Matt's trying to get attention to someone. So I don't know if you can hear what I'm saying, but yeah. So you had Mission Impossible franchise. I loved the last one that was done. I thought it was a really good film, but it was on a decline in numbers. Fast and Furious franchise on a decline. All these franchise films on a decline, and Barbie came along at a time when people were looking for something fresh, and Barbie gave that freshness. It gave them something. Barbie gave people something they hadn't seen. I don't know if you heard everything I was saying.
No, I had to step out. Apparently, the postman was at the door, so I had to just quickly go and sort that out. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. Yeah, so I was saying, you had Marvel, DC in decline. You had Mission Impossible. That's as good as the film was. It was a great film. The last one, it didn't do the money that the ones prior had. Same with Fast and Furious. These films all in decline. Barbie and Oppenheimer came out of nowhere. Especially Barbie. I foresaw Oppenheimer doing well because it's Nolan and, but Barbie, it was a big budget, colourful film at a time when all these other big budget, potentially colourful films were failing. So it gave a freshness to I'm pretty sure a Barbie sequel probably wouldn't do half as good and probably be slated. But I think Barbie should be left as a one and done. I'll be honest. I think it just came out at the right time. Had it come out a few years earlier when the MCU was at its height, probably wouldn't have done half as good.
No. But another thing that I've noticed as well is with these pre-orders of, like you're saying, it comes up on the day the film comes out. An example of this is that biopic of forget the singer's name.
Amy Winehouse.
Amy Winehouse, yeah. As well as, I think there's a steelbook, standard release, but also there's the Cine E edition with the the bump. And again, that's something that's been happening in the last few years. Very much that even a brand new release is getting a limited edition, special edition, which, back in the day, you just get the standard DVD or VHS of a film. And then further down the line, once it's built up, an audience, cult following, you would then get that limited edition, but that's completely changed, hasn't it?
Yeah, you're seeing. I think that that goes into what you were saying about trying to make money back from different revenue streams. That they're certainly targeting people that the special edition market. I mean, okay, the Amy Winehouse. I looked at the okay, Me of old, I looked at that. The eCine edition. I thought, oh, that looks nice. And for a split second, I thought, oh, should I pre-order it?
Mm.
I don't even bloody like Amy Winehouse, so I didn't pre-order it anyway.
No.
I'm thinking, well, I don't want a biographical movie of Amy Winehouse. I've got no interest. I don't really. I mean, a couple of her songs I think might be okay, but I don't. I'm not really a fan of hers. I wasn't impacted at all when she passed away, as tragic as it is. Because so why am I even for that split second? I'm thinking if you go back a few years, I'd probably have bought that film just on the basis of, I could get a special edition.
Yeah, and again, I think that it comes back to what you're saying about this conditioning. But for that split second, you was actually thinking, "Oh, it's a nice edition," and it's almost like that's you're conditioned.
It's almost like the film doesn't count.
Yes, yeah.
It's like the film doesn't. I don't care about the film. Look at that edition.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know.
And then that feeds into the, I need to get this because this might sell out, and going to be going for crazy money on eBay. But actually, you kind of then start thinking, well, actually, A, is it a film that interests me, or B, is it a film I've just seen and actually didn't think it was that great, or I don't really want to buy this at the moment because I've just seen it. It's feeding
there's a very vicious circle nature to it, and conditioning does come into play. I think you've been conditioned. How many people will keep their Ghostbusters in Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, keep it in place, the sale in place, but they didn't enjoy the film.
Yeah.
You
see now,
because it's a franchise film as well. It's like, well, I've got all the others in Steelbook, so I must have this in Steelbook.
Yeah.
Or I've got all the others in the franchise, and I've got all the others in the franchise. I've even still got the 2016 one on 4K upstairs, which cost me like £4 or something. But I'm now at that point where I can say I didn't enjoy that film. I'm not going to pick it up because it's a franchise movie. I'm not going to pay £35 for a Steelbook for it. If I do want to pick it up and complete the franchise, then I will wait until that's like the Blu-ray is £5 or £6 in CEX.
Yeah,
that's the type. If you're intent on completing the franchise, that's when you do it.
And I think that's the way that I'm trying to deal with FOMO for myself is when you see these, limited editions come out, special editions, etc. Unless it's a film that you really like Jaws, okay, those steelbooks that they just brought out. I mean, they had just literally sold out, literally within a few days. I was absolutely quite amazed at how quickly those sold out. I don't know how limited they are, but quite surprised because we did have the big box editions. Really, really surprised at how quickly they've gone. But something like that, you think, it's a film that I love. I'm going to get it day one, job done. If it's a film that, you enjoyed, but you're not necessarily in a position to want to pick it up straight away, my mentality is thinking, okay, this film, this version will come available at some point on eBay. you've got to ask yourself the question, can I wait for it? And 9 times out of 10, you can, because that FOMO feeling after a day or so, when you focus onto something else, that will subside. And when you get caught up in the moment of it, it's like, yeah, I must get it. I must get it. But actually, if you allow yourself a little bit of period of time, that will fade. And that's the way that I'm trying to deal with it, because I think it's very easy to get caught up in all of this. And, there's people out there that must be spending a lot of money on a lot of different releases. And then at the end of the month, they're thinking, oh, gosh, I've got all of this is costing me a lot of money. And it's, yeah, you've got to get it in perspective, haven't you?
No, absolutely. Yeah, and you're right about the FOMO passing, but I think for some people, that might be harder than others.
Yes.
I think a lot of it is yeah. I mean, I can't even speculate how difficult that would be for some compared to myself or yourself. Do you know what I mean? It does pass. I think I'm wondering whether part of it is to do with how full your life is outside of collecting.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? When you've got a job, family, proper day-to-day goings on, compared to someone who hasn't, and there are people out there. Let's not beat around the bush. Let's presume you got people who at the moment are out of work or whatever, and they can still afford stuff. However, they manage to do it because we see it. I'm not knocking them. You've got people in different situations, or they collect. They haven't got a family. They haven't got children. They haven't got that sort of stuff going on.
Yeah,
it's probably far harder for them to disassociate from missing out on something than someone whose mind can be focused on other day-to-day goings on.
Yeah.
So it depends on the person really, and I think a lot of what's going on in that circle around you at the time, and the relevance of how important sometimes life events occur, and you realise what, none of this matters, none of this stuff here matters. Argument's sake is when I went through divorce with my first wife, and nothing mattered. Nothing mattered. When I moved out of my house, at the time the house was sold, there was stuff behind. I left behind in the attic, and one item that I left behind in the attic was a almost, well, I'll say it was about 5 foot, a 5 foot high standee of Predator.
Oh wow!
And I had a Daredevil one as well, Ben Affleck Daredevil one. The Predator one, Predator was from Predator 2, and it came from a VHS rental store at the time.
Yeah, I remember those.
It was in store, front in store standee, and I knew the geezer in there. And the minute they had it, I went in and said, when you're done with that, do you mind if I have it? And he said, yeah, fine. And the Daredevil one had come from Sainsbury's, and when Daredevil was released on DVD, they had a full-size Ben Affleck stood thingy, and I got hold of that. And when I left that house, that stuff didn't. It was like, it doesn't matter. This stuff doesn't matter. And you have that effect as well. That psychological effect of importance of the moment. It's now, damn it, I'm like, oh, bloody hell, I left that Predator behind. Wish I still had that. But
again, I think, and another thing that I've noticed as well, not necessarily likes of HMV or Zavvi, but other sites, I'm seeing emails that are coming in that are targeted at your payday, saying, "Oh, it's payday." There's all these offers coming. And this kind of thing. Again, there's that sort of marketing drive to sort of, we've got a sale on
get money for you.
X amount of steelbooks, or you know.
Live
And
like a king
again,
for a day. Live like a king for a day, and then a pauper for the rest of until
yeah,
that next
yeah,
day.
yeah, yeah. But again, I mean, that again, like you're saying, people's different situations. Um, again, depending on what kind of mood you're in, you know, when you're sort of surfing the internet, you know, you might have had a bad day, and you know, you kind of want to cheer yourself up with something, and you think, oh, you know, I'll get that release. You know, I
Oh,
want to get that.
that release is only £70. I'll buy that.
Yeah, I mean, that's not, yeah, that's not really fear of missing out, but
No.
again, it's all to do with the psychology of things, isn't it? You know, it's feeding into that sort of, oh, yeah, that need for getting something.
But I
Depending
think
on,
ultimately fear of missing out is driven by. Um, I think you'd find it higher in people that, like I said, who partake in channels like this, people who watch these channels, the people who know, you know, those who are in the know and got a knowledge of, and they've only gained that knowledge of because they watch all this sort of stuff that we're doing now, and the openings and the upcoming releases and all this sort of a thing.
yeah,
Whereas if
yeah,
you're just Joe Public, and but Joe Public don't really buy into physical media anymore, but general Joe Public, then general Joe Public would just be, you know, do you know what I mean? You'd be just like, oh, you'd walk into a shop, oh, they ain't got that. I walk into HMV this morning, Joe Public, this is, oh, I want Aliens. Oh, it's not on the shelf. Oh, that's a shame. I'll pick
yeah,
it up. Got it. Do
yeah,
you know what I mean? It's that. Whereas other people are like, you know, and you do see it. You do see it. You see it in you know, these people who when they've done their Blu-ray hunts, and I can think of one film that I can think of is Megan,
mm,
and it goes to that slipcover. It's
yeah,
that fear of getting it without a slipcover. I've got to have it with a
mm,
slipcover.
yeah,
And you're seeing it. You're seeing it happen in these videos. You're seeing
mm,
that, you know, and that's just sort of occurred to me. You're seeing that fear of missing out, manifesting it in those individuals
mm,
when they're doing these hunts and they're going, this hasn't got a slip cover. I've got to find it with a slip cover. Now I'm
yeah,
going to go to this shop and that shop and see if they've got it in there with a slip cover because they're scared of missing it without the slip cover.
yeah. But then you're kind of then watching that, and then that's kind of sinking into your mindset, and you're thinking,
And it's
actually, I
driving you
need
as
to go and
well
get this.
with a
Yeah,
slip cover.
yeah, yeah. It's,
I
I mean, social media, you know, it's got its good points, but it's also got its bad points, hasn't it? That, you know, it's,
It has. I mean,
you know,
this whole
it can
thing has
drive
it.
the mental health side of things,
Yeah,
you
which
know.
I've, you know, it's partly played into me. Obviously, as you know, it's uh, not that it was caused by YouTube or anything like that. It wasn't caused by YouTube. It was just everything. I had other stuff going on, still going
Yeah,
on now. Um,
yeah,
one of them's been put to bed, but do you know what I mean? There's still a lot going on outside of
yeah,
this
yeah,
this screen, shall we say? There's a lot
yeah,
going on, and it can be very impactful to your mental health. Yeah, it can. I mean, you know, it's crazy when you think you're scared of missing something, and like you say, in a couple of days, you know, you're not going to care. No one
no,
else cares. No one
no,
cares. You've missed out on it. Who cares? The companies don't care that you've missed out on it.
no,
They toss, and ultimately, in a few days' time, you're not going to care that you've missed out on it.
yeah. But I think it's like, you kind of like, certainly from my point of view, it's almost like you've got two voices in your head, sort of one saying get it, and the other one saying no, you don't need to get it.
Yeah.
You know, do you experience that? I think
Uh,
we all experience it, don't we?
oh, we do. I mean, you know, yeah, and pre-orders are, you know, I always pre-order. Something comes up, I'll, you know, a new release for the most part. Not everything, but you know, I'll be like pre-order,
Yeah.
right? Because I like look at that. I want it in the collection. Then that gives you time to ask, do I want it in the collection? I've got it secured for myself, hopefully, because we know that Amazon doesn't fulfill everything now. And then you've got that time to ask yourself, do I want it in the collection?
Yeah.
But when you see, but like I said, when you see that it's sold out, I've got a pre-order and this item is now sold out, and then I see people moaning that they can't get it because it's sold out. Shall I keep it because I'm getting something that other people want?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I will admit that. I mean, I pre-ordered the Jaws steelbook because I didn't get the big edition. But then I found myself the other day, because I've got that Jaws 4K set with the lenticular, the Amaray, and the book. That's a nice edition.
The one that came with the dodgy printed book first time round.
That's correct. Yeah, and I actually managed to get the corrected book.
Yeah.
For that, and you know, the other day I was thinking to myself, do I really need the steelbook? I do like the steelbook. I love the film. Do I really need it? I went on to Amazon. Well, went on to various sites, sold out everywhere. So immediately I'm thinking, no, I'm not going to cancel that. But again, is it partly because it's sold out?
Yeah, I think it is. But what I would do in a case like that, right, and I've done it, I wouldn't cancel it yet.
No.
Because it feels, you know, sometimes you cancel and it feels good that you've cancelled because you're like, oh, I've let that go.
Yeah.
You know, I've let that go. You know, I didn't need it. But then you've still got 2 months until release.
Yeah.
And then inevitably what would come back round is that you might think, I wish I hadn't cancelled that. I want it now.
Yeah.
Why cancel it? And you've not gained anything by cancelling it because it's not like the was coming out until release anyway. So you just as well leave it sat in place.
Yeah.
And make that decision
nearer the
right
time.
on top of the release date when you know that.
I mean, personally, so I didn't go for the big box one. I do like the fact that it's nice artwork back and front. Always thought the front artwork was really nice, very different design to the classic artwork. But that back, it's almost like a wraparound, I think, isn't it? Isn't there more of the beach on the back cover?
I believe so. Yeah, I can't remember.
Like a sign or something. I mean, my initial thoughts was be able to put that steelbook in that collector set and get rid of the Amaray, but I've got a feeling, I haven't looked at it, but I've got a feeling that Amaray is the thinner design, so I'm not so sure whether a steelbook would fit in it.
Just try it.
I need to put a steelbook in and
I'm sure that's a thick Amaray in there.
Yeah, that was my thoughts, you know, that I could kind of make this, I call them a hybrid edition, you know, I like to combine things to make a nice set for me.
See, I'll be with Jaws now. Obviously, favourite film. I have got that on pre-order. I've actually got it on pre-order twice.
Okay.
I've got one set with Zavvi, and I've got one set with Amazon.
Right.
Now, and then I'm thinking, what do I do? What one do I cancel? You know, Amazon have now proved that they don't fulfill orders all the time. So I could cancel Zavvi, keep Amazon in place, then Amazon doesn't fulfill my order. Zavvi, all right, they've got their packaging better now, but obviously they've got a history of potential damage, but not that Amazon doesn't. Amazon do as well.
Yeah.
And so the other thought is I could keep both in place, right? Because I want it and I don't want to miss out, fear of missing out. Being Jaws my favourite film. Have them both come in if both are fine, I could then, all right, I could scalp it off. I could sell it at an inflated rate if it's going for that.
Yeah.
Or I could send it back to Amazon. Either one, if the Zavvi one come damaged and the Amazon one came looking fine, then what I would do is I would take the damaged one, send it back to Amazon, because I know that Amazon returns are far easier than the Zavvi return. And they're getting the same product back. It's just the damage had come from a different location, right?
Yeah.
But what I have done is speaking to your, Scott, your mate.
Oh, yeah.
Which is what he's bought. He said to me, he did say to me that he missed out on Jaws.
Okay.
He said to me, I missed out on Jaws. I wanted to order it, and then they'd all gone. And I said to him, look, I've got two orders in place.
Okay.
I was going to cancel one. I said, what I'll do is I'll keep the second one in place for you, and then when it comes, as long as it's not damaged, when it comes,
send me the money across and job done.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. And I know you said that other people have done that for you, they've ordered two, just because they want to make sure that, there's no damage, but both copies are fine. So, yeah, they've been able to sell one on to yourself, so.
But that's the thing now. It's not, because I can't believe I've done that. Because I was thinking, like I said before, even I said that I'll keep hold of it, keep it in place for him. It's like, well, what do I do? Because, like I said, Zavvi, potential damage, Amazon, potential damage, and not fulfilling the order.
Yeah.
What way do I go?
Yeah.
You're damned if you do, damned if you don't, until you've got. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think mine's with Amazon, so I've got that potential that it might not be fulfilled, but that's
I say that fear of missing out doesn't really impact me too much now. I think it does, because that's an example of it doing that. Of it
happens occasionally with me, but I try to, like I say, the thought process is this will become available at some point. You might have to be patient. It might be a year down the line, but you will be able to get it.
I think that, you've hit the nail on the head there. Is patience.
Yes.
June 2, the June 2 steelbook that came out, I didn't order it. Right, because if you remember, June 2 came out probably around the time that I stepped away from YouTube.
Yeah.
And I really didn't care. I didn't, that's where I was at. That's what I'm saying about the impact of psychology and stuff going on around you. That I couldn't even pick up my phone and go to HMV and be bothered to order this steelbook. And part of the reason why I couldn't be bothered to order it is because, and this sounds so stupid, right? The reason I couldn't be bothered to order it is because even though my card details are stored, I have to get my card out of my wallet and enter the 3 digits on the back each time, right? Whereas I don't have to do that with Amazon. I don't have to do that with Zavvi. I can just there's a pre-order, bang, 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 pre-order's in place. But HMV, it's like, just confirm the 3 numbers on the back. And I'm sat there thinking, I can't be bothered to walk 3 meters over there, pick up my wallet, get my card out to look at the bag. And seriously, and that's how it was. I couldn't be bothered to do it. And then they sold out. They started, I don't know if they're back in stock or what.
Yeah, I think it did come back in stock because they suddenly said, we've got a reissue of it. So I don't know whether it's still in stock.
But then I didn't care. I didn't care that it sold out.
Have you seen the film?
That I'd missed out.
Have you seen the film?
Let's say no to that.
No. Okay.
I tried.
I think when you're in the right frame of mind for it,
that's what I need to be.
Because I remember you saying, I remember when you watched the first film and you said, I'm buzzed. I'm ready to watch the sequel to this.
Yeah.
Literally straight away. And I went to the cinema and it was a fantastic cinema experience. One of the best I've had since Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah, I
I
know.
came
You
out.
trying,
I came
you
out
kept
with
force
goosebumps.
me.
You know. Sorry.
You kept trying to force me into it.
Yeah, I know. And
The
you
thing,
weren't in
the
the
thing.
right. You weren't in the right place to watch
Yeah,
it.
and I'm
But
still not now. I tried
yeah,
watching it. I tried watching
yeah,
it, and what happened was
yeah,
that
yeah,
happened because
yeah,
I'm still at this. I'm still in this. Okay, I watched Ghostbusters, um, and I didn't like it. Now, part of the reason I will, I can sit here and acknowledge that possibly part of the reason why I didn't enjoy Ghostbusters is because I wasn't in the right frame of mind.
yeah,
But I will still back my concerns with it. That it's an overstuffed cast. They've got no faith in new casts. All this sort of stuff. I will still say that it's not a good film, but
mm,
I can't watch. I'm struggling to watch new stuff. I can't watch new stuff at this.
no,
As we sat here at
big
this moment in
time.
time, I
Yeah,
cannot put something brand new in and watch it. I need a familiar narrative.
yeah.
And
Oh,
that's
that's fair enough.
logical. I need a familiar narrative so I don't have to think. And I know Dune is going to be a film I have to sit and be immersed in.
Yeah,
I
you will.
be
Yeah,
I have to
yeah,
pay attention to everything on screen.
yeah.
Um,
But
and not only that,
it'll
I'm
be
sure the
worth the
film.
wait. I think for you. I think
Yeah,
I thought it was better than the first one myself. Um, you know, say I immediately pre-ordered that because I knew so far favorite film of the year. I can't see that being topped, to be honest.
yeah. See, I
From
still
my
have a
point of
I
view.
still have a love hate relationship with Dune. In that
Yeah,
I loved the last film that came out, but I've still got the recollections of the very first Dune film and my first viewing of that. And
yeah,
I think that where I am at the moment in my mind, I've got a battle between I like this Dune, I hate Dune. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's
I
that.
wasn't a fan of the first film either.
Yeah, I
So,
think it's that recollection of the first one that's winning over with this
yeah,
second one.
I would just say, when you're ready to watch it, just remember. I mean, even go back to that video that you did of your June review, and how I can remember how sort of like, wow, this was really good. I really enjoyed this. Can't
Yeah,
wait for
no,
the second part.
yeah, I remember how I felt about the first one.
But you got to be in, yeah, you got to be in the right place. But yeah, I mean, I think possibly Joker 2 could be a really good film. Still a bit hesitant on the musical side of things, but it may surprise us. I mean, the first film was fantastic, but again, should that be a sequel? I don't know. But anyway, we're sort of getting off topic here.
We are.
We are. So I think we'll kind of wrap it up, and we'll put it over to the audience. If you stick down in the comments what you think, how you deal with this fear of missing out. Um, you know, yeah, be interested to hear your thoughts on it. So I think it's something that all of us collectors do. We experience this at some point. Some maybe more than others, but yeah,
Yeah.
be really interested to sort of hear what you have to say about it.
Oh, look, Zavi, Steelbook price drops on Zavi at the minute.
Okay, all around payday again. You see,
The Marvel
yeah,
stuff,
end of the month. Yeah,
£12.49 for 4K Black Panther and 4 Love and Thunder.
yeah,
Just the Steelbooks, not the special edition one.
no, no, yeah, cool.
I need to stop
Right,
looking. Stop looking.
yeah, 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 yeah. Right.
Oh, I don't know.
Well,
Anyway, yeah.
no, it's been a great discussion. Yeah, we sort of delved into this subject. It's always a good subject to talk about.
Oh, hello, you're
The
waiting now.
mental health side of things, I think it feeds into that. And like you say, interesting what you said about the conditioning.
Yes.
But I'll be interested to watch your video. Obviously, that will have broadcast by the time you're watching this. So, but yeah, no, keen to watch that. So, yeah.
Cool,
Right, well,
cool.
thanks for joining me again. So saying, I haven't got another subject at the moment lined up, but I'm sure there'll be something.
Like I
that we
said,
can
if you
come
just
to.
want to try a standard,
Yes.
people like that. They might do.
Yeah, they might do. Yeah.
Chit chat on, you know, local, the latest news, etc., etc.
Well, I think we've been almost doing that a little bit in this,
I think we have,
this
yeah.
podcast. You know, we've been going off topic. So yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Let's do that next time. Bit more of a general chit chat about things, and you know,
Yeah.
Cool. Right. Oh, thanks ever so much for watching, everyone. Please give the video a thumbs up. That really does help me out. And as I say, leave comments down below. And if you're new, why not subscribe? Cool.
See you later.
Right. See you all
Take care.
later. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.